here. I have it under the grill, so it's somewhat protected by the elements. I use that to take the food out of the shed. This is the shed. This is an old shed that we use to house 3 of our friendly ferals. And I take the food out of the shed at night so that predators like raccoons don't come in, because all of their heated beds are in there too. So I don't want them to get chased out of the shed on these cold nights. But here's another view of the clear tote shelter. And again, I would only use this if you have an area that's partially protected from the elements. If it's just sitting out, of course, rain and snow and everything else is going to get into there. And I would only use, disclaimer, I would only use the heating pads if you have an outside electricity source. Make sure you're being safe about it. Make sure that they're not going to get wet. I have Oreos, and I know from experience, oranges, and I know from experience for the past 2 years that heating pad is not going to get wet, even in the worst of blizzards, when it's under my overhang like that. But it's something that I definitely check every time we have like a windy rainstorm or a blizzard or anything where there's wind, sweat, moisture heading towards that. So now we're in my shed, and I'll show you. This is an old shed, although we still have our John Deere in here. It's nice vertical space for the cats. When it's warm out, Fluffy actually likes to lay on there. And this is actually my kitten's mama, Fluffy. You see her laying, and this is why I can't use straw for Orange's area, because she has decided that the rest of the straw is her bed. And so I can't take that away from her because she's spoiled. Right, Fluffy? So all my cats are neutered. Just disclaimer, but she is my kitten's mama. So now I have a K&H premium heating pad here. And if you see, I have this like foam tile underneath of it because it is on a metal table and it wasn't getting that warm. But with these heating pads, they will only emit heat if you're putting pressure on it. And I can feel my hand getting warm where the sun isn't shining. Okay, but there actually has to be pressure applied to this heating pad in order for it to deliver heat. So it's not using a lot of electricity. And what I have in here, I actually have an old box that my Bowflex Select Tech weights came in like 4 years ago. And because it's in the shed and it's out of the elements, it's okay to use a cardboard box. But I wouldn't use this outside because obviously it's going to retain moisture. And my dad had built like a wooden platform here for whatever reason. This is a concrete floor, but the floor that I used, and I'm trying to find the label for it, I put this foam flooring down for the winter. I actually just put this down a couple of weeks ago, just in the areas that they walk on, because underneath is concrete, and that gets really, really cold. So, and then we actually found this at BJ's. It's called Best Step Comfort Flooring, and it's like a fake wood finish, but it's actually foam underneath. This is what the underside looks like. So it provides a little additional insulation. So I have this box here that I had lined with styrofoam before I got heating pads. This is when I first started feeding ferals, and there's Oreos uneaten treats there. And then I have another one of the deluxe K&H heating pads. A small one of these is about 60 bucks. Then we have the regular K&H heating pad. I know I need to clean these, but I actually sprinkle them with catnip to attract the cats on there. But this works almost as well as the deluxe one. And these, I believe, are about $35, $40 for a small one. This one is coming on my 3rd winter, and it's still working. It's really worth the money if you can afford to do that for your ferals. So I have that inside a container. I haven't lined this one with styrofoam yet. I've been lazy about it. But this one is lined with styrofoam to provide additional insulation. And then I have them packed in straw. So I have the straw on the outside because I don't like putting straw right up against something electrical. That's not safe. So I have the straw packed on the outside just to provide some additional insulation. And right here, I actually saw an indentation the other day before I fluffed it up again. So one of the cats was actually laying on that straw. So even if you can't afford the heating pads and everything else, if you have a shelter for them, some kind of shelter, straw is a great insulator. And then this, I don't think anybody's using it, but I'm saving this litter box for winter so that when there's snow on the ground, I might start actually putting a litter box out here for them if I can do it away from their food, because cats won't eat where they poop. So So there's a few different ideas of shelters, and I'm actually going to attach a link to Alley Cat Allies, which gives you so many options. There's so much information on there, it's almost overwhelming. But then you can figure out what's best for you and your feral cats. But if you're feeding at a remote location, I would definitely say that the blue Rubbermaid tote one, the first one that I showed you, would be the best option for feral cats in a remote location. And what you want to do, again, I feed on my property, so I don't have to camouflage anything. But if you're feeding in a remote location and you want it kind of hidden from other humans, then what you want to do is just kind of cover it up with sticks and leaves and any kind of brush that you find around it, and make sure that you secure the top with a cinder block or whatever so that they don't blow away. So if you have any questions, please comment in the comments below. You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook name is Robin Hooven Wilson. It's ROBYN HOOVEN Wilson, WILSON, no hyphens. Feel free to friend me on Facebook or send me a message request on Facebook or comment below if you have any questions at all. And again, visit the links that I'm attaching in the comments. They're going to give you a wealth of information on how to care for your feral and free roaming or stray cats. Talk to you all soon.